This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace.
Netflix. Go to netflix.com/TRS and get a free trial membership.
And Gamefly. Go to gamefly.com/TTRS for a free trial.
All right, everybody, coming up on the show, we're going to be talking about the new movie Night and Day, and also the Green Hornet trailer. Plus, we're going to be talking about Bit.Trip runners.
Bit.Trip runners.
So make sure you get your parental slips in. Bit.Trip runners is coming up. Also, our iPhone and iPad games roundup, plus Twitter questions.
Three rad janitors, red jumpsuits they wore, spent time cleaning floors for gizmonic overlords. TV's Frank and the Doctor, one day while bored, shot into space the core. Cheesy movies they'll endure. With no way to ignore and their minds monitored, they garner rapport with robots on board. Manos, what an eyesore, but riffing's their savior. Movies and games galore on the Totally Rad Show.
Welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 171. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Totally Rad Show's weekly dose of all things rad. We hop on the wrong plane, it gets shot up, and then we become super spies. That's how rad this show can be.
We also have a MST3K theme for no reason.
No reason.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, it is. This is the MST3K background.
Mark,
old school style.
Mark Howell sent this in quite a while ago, and we've been hanging on to it. But we actually also got MST3K intro lyrics.
Correct.
Right, Dave LaSalle sent him over.
We hope that's how we pronounce his last name.
We hope that's how we pronounce everybody's last name. If we ever say your name on this show, assume we hope that's how it's pronounced. We also know that that may very well not be how it's pronounced.
Or you could send us a pronunciation. That's also fun.
I love that people are like, Dave Smith, and you're like, Dave Smythe. I didn't know why he didn't send a pronunciation.
Smith. But yes, we're big fans of the MST3K.
Yeah.
And so we thought, we happen to have these two things sent from two different people that, why not marry them together?
That's good.
So now,
peanut butter and chocolate.
Dave, Mark, you're married.
Boom. Hopefully
right.
you live in Vermont. Let's get to a movie review.
This week in movies, we're going to talk about Night and Day.
Night and Day.
Which comes from director James Mangold, who I love because he is a genre ninja. He's made movies from Girl Interrupted to Identity to recently a Western, 3:10 to Yuma, and Walk the Line as well,
He's
a
never
biopic.
mangled any of those genres.
That's right.
Oh.
But he's a man of gold.
Oh.
So, Night and Day stars. Oh, I want to mention too, it's produced by Steve Pink, who wrote one of my favorite movies of all time. It was sort of in the John Cusack. He did High Fidelity, but before that, Grosse Point Blank.
Oh, love that.
I bring that up because Night and Day falls firmly within that genre of movie, like Grosse Point Blank, True Lies, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, as Tom Cruise is a super secret super spy who may or may not be
That's official title.
who may or may not be going crazy, and his mission intertwines with the regular old gal played by Cameron Diaz. Jeff.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think of Night and Day?
I had a ridiculous amount of fun with this movie. It is a rip-roaring, rollicking good time, and lots of laughs, and the whole movie soars firmly on the performance of Tom Cruise and the tone of his character. The character is indefatigable and indomitable and positive through the entire movie, and there is something extraordinarily fun about that. He could be it's not something that I've ever quite seen in a movie where he's got this positivity and can-do spirit while the defecation is hitting the oscillation. It's like there is crazy stuff going on, but he's like, it's okay, I got this. And that carrying through the whole movie is so much fun. It makes the ride of this movie, you feel like you're in good hands because you're identifying with the character that Cameron Diaz is playing, and she's in good hands. And they do such wonderful, or Mangold does such wonderful things with not showing you stuff. You know, there are major action set pieces that happen completely off camera that you just get glimpses of, and that it's so funny and so fun to be feeling like you're on that ride and the universe is even bigger than what you get to see. I had a blast with this movie. I mean, it's not perfect. There are things that happen that look a little ridiculous. I think the motorcycle chase scene at the end didn't feel completely authentic to me and didn't carry off as well as it could have with the bulls and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, a blast.
Yeah, I pretty much loved this movie. I was thrilled because from the trailer I was like, if this movie is just more of this, I'm gonna love this movie. And it was way more of this. There are things that happen in this movie that are damn near the funniest things I've ever seen. I mean, sidekicking the waiter. I thought you were making a move. I was like, genius moments. And not only that, this movie actually, it's weird to see a comedy that feels grounded in reality. And I feel like this to me is like, you don't get this, it's not all characters are all slapstick and every villain is this weird like comedy villain. It's like a James Bond movie if James Bond was played by Buster Keaton. You know what I mean? Like you get
So
this.
Austin Powers.
Well, but everybody's crazy in Austin Powers. That's the whole thing. This is just a very charismatic, funny character involved in this real world, and I don't mean real as in like this happens in real world, but I mean like, the Jason Bourne movie with a funny Jason Bourne. You know what I mean? It's not Austin Powers where everybody is just this crazy, wacky, over-the-top character. But I loved it. I thought the action was great. I thought that the story was engaging and interesting, and there was some real heart in it with his relationship with that and his relationship with, his past and all this great stuff. I mean, I thought it was awesome. And Tom Cruise is a freaking action star.
He sort of
It's
is
amazing.
the best person to play this part. The best.
Yes.
It's also sort of an analog to our recent perceptions of him,
Yeah.
and it toys with that notion.
Yeah.
There's not much more I can say beyond what you guys have already said. It is a spectacular movie, hilarious, awesome, thrilling action sequences. Like you said,
Smart action
it's
sequences
very smart.
too.
Some of it playing off camera, some of it featured, all in a fun way. And the tone is the greatest aspect to the movie. That, as you said, Tom Cruise nails perfectly. But it's the tone that is in the genre, and that's why I love the genre so much. Is that there is a goofiness to it completely. That's why I don't know if it's grounded in reality as much as you're saying.
I mean that the story itself is like, it's a spy story with comedy in it. It's not just Austin Powers slapstick.
It's not a parody, right? It certainly is not a parody.
That's what I want to say.
Right.
It's not a parody.
But it's the fact that there's things that are completely fantastical that make no sense in reality.
Like the motorcycle flying, and then he's landing and be like,
Exactly.
hey!
And we have that moment, and then we really have some serious action sequence stuff. Like it takes such deft hands from the actors to the director to everyone really to pull that off, and they really pulled it off with this movie.
Yeah.
You know what else I would like to say real quick is that going in, I know that this title wasn't the original title, and I think all of us made a comment at one point or another that, or snarkily, that oh, Night and Day, because his name is Night and her name. And when you find out that that's not at all what the title is, and the title actually is really poignant, the way the reveal of what the title is, I thought was very, very cool. That like it relates in an interesting way.
What to talk about that? Because I
don't know what you're talking about either.
The day part specifically.
Oh, I didn't pick. Okay, we'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so moving on. So after you walk out of the theater, there's gonna be a lot for you to chew on.
Yeah.
All right. So
Deep stuff.
Yeah. Moving on. So last week, the trailer for The Green Hornet came out. We are big fans of superheroes, big fans of superhero movies, big fans of director Michel Gondry from commercials and music videos, and then Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and more recently, Be Kind, Rewind.
Mm-hmm.
Seth Rogen plays, is he an actor? He's some sort of super celeb.
He's the son of a media mogul.
Okay. So son of a media mogul turned out to have
He's
been
sort of like the punk son. He's like the Paris Hilton of the Hilton Empire.
Right.
He's like the drinker and partier and wasted life.
You
kind of
could
person.
think if Bruce Wayne had a kid.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Douche Wayne, as it were.
Dies. Turns out he was a superhero, and the younger Seth Rogen now inherits the superhero-ness and is partnered with. From the old series, it was Bruce Lee. Now it is Jay Chow as the awesome gadget kung fu man. Kato. Jeff.
Kato.
What did you think of the trailer for the Green Hornet? How do you feel?
It's interesting. They are clearly moving this along the line. I mean, you understand why Seth Rogen is involved in this project, because it really is the everyman in a superhero situation. It really is the sort of greatest American hero take on this material. And I, for one, am thrilled. I didn't think I was going to be as excited about this movie as it turns out I am. The talent involved, I was excited about, but I was worried that the take might feel so much of a parody that it actually turned into a different genre of movie, and that it was
More
just
Dukes of Hazzard then.
exactly that it was just making fun of itself rather than being something genuinely thrilling and awesome. And it looks like the thrill and the awesome is going to be intact. I'm excited. I think this looks really cool, and I think it can infuse that superhero stuff with a real, like we were kind of talking about with Night and Day, with kind of grounding it in like, isn't it amazing that I'm here and there's all this cool stuff, and that feeling that I think all of us would have in that situation.
Good point.
Yeah, I was worried when this was initially announced. I think I might have even talked about it a little bit when we were first talking about it on the show. Because I was worried that this was going to be Seth Rogen's attempt to go, no, I'm a serious action star now.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm not this funny guy anymore.
Not so much.
I'm this serious. No, and that's perfect.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what you want to see. You want to see Seth Rogen in that sort of fish out of water. Isn't this amazing? Now, interesting. It will be interesting to see how they make it make sense that he can then become an actual badass. Because, with Kato, you get it, there's a lot of fight sequences, but he's in all those fight sequences.
Well, it may be
wasn't
a little,
focused
it may be a
on
little
him.
Inspector Gadgety, where his penny is Kato, and Kato's doing all the badass stuff, and he gets the credit.
That's what I'm thinking, but that to me is the only mystery that I still need to have checked off in order to be able to go, wow, this is going to be a cool concept. But I love where they've gone to. The fight stuff is really cool because you talked about how Michel Gondry actually shot the fight stuff, where they shot everything in super slow-mo and then added the people later, shot all the people with the different cameras, didn't you? You were the one that was telling me about that,
I was
right?
saying about that, but that's not it, but similar. What is
shot
cool
the
is the
action
way, what
people.
comes, what the outcome is that, whereas we've seen the Zack Snyder, we've seen it all over, but Zack Snyder's been using it a
Matrix
lot,
and-
where everything is in super high speed, super slow-mo. But it looks as if, and they speed ramp, you know. But it looks as if everyone but Kato, and Kato was also shot in super slow-mo, but they can make Kato be normal speed and everyone else still reacting in slow motion. So it looks like, and he can ramp in between going to people so that they are, that is a unique take on an action scene. Makes perfect sense for it to be Kato that's doing that. And yes, I agree. The action in this movie looks. See, the thing is, the trailer I don't think is a spectacular trailer. It's not the Inception trailer. I don't think you watch it and you go, home run, I'm amazing. It's not Iron Man's trailer where, oh my God, it's hilarious and I can't wait, right? But it's filled with potential. And one of the things that I didn't count on, I was very excited for Michel Gondry's take on an action movie because he's so inventive, and I thought the action scene that, when I heard about how they were doing that, I was like, oh, that is cool. But what I didn't get was the content. The James Bond, the Q, the gadgets.
Yeah.
And I was like, that moment when the fence that's made of grass, it opens and the thing. I was like,
and a car
splits
in half.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And
it was
closes.
like, we're gonna get Michel Gondry's handmade, organic, practical, mind-twisting effects, not CG effects. Although there will be some CG, but we're getting that take on the content of the movie in addition to just the action sequences. And also, I love Jay Chow has a very rough American accent. It sounds like he can't speak English very well. And I love that there's sort of this indie film sensibility with that, not the Jackie Chan or Rush Hour sensibility with that. That looks like that's gonna be really funny, and I'm very excited for the potential of this movie.
Definitely.
And supposedly the delay to January from the summer is because they believe in it so much, right? That's what we heard, that they wanted to really pump it
We
up.
never know what that is, and everyone
yeah.
assumes it's because the movie's bad, and that could be the case, but who knows?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right.
Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Buzz away.
Reload. So coming off E3 this year, all of us, which was last week, all of us, I think, got way more excited about the Wii. The Wii and Nintendo showed a lot of promise, and so I thought it'd be fun to talk about a Wii game, and we haven't talked about any WiiWare titles thus far on the show. So there's a really fun game called Bit.Trip Runner that was released a little while ago. There's a whole line of Bit.Trip games from Gaijin Games, and it's got this interesting throwback visual style that looks like an early '80s video game, like an Atari 2600.
Yeah.
It's a, it's kind of pre-8-bit, I would even say. And this game is in a style that has gotten popular of late, in large part to iPhone games. A game called Cannibalt, and a game I know that you like a lot, Robot Unicorn Attack.
Both of them were Flash games before they were iPhone games.
This is true.
And that's
Yes. And basically the idea is that your character is constantly running, so no more need to push right on your control stick to get somebody to run. Character is constantly running and can even pick up speed as you go, and you just need to avoid obstacles, be they leaping or sliding or kicking. But it's all about momentum and timing, and it's really a much more simplistic kind of breaking down of the platformer to, and I would say, injecting adrenaline into it. So I know, Dan, you are a huge fan of these kinds of games. What did you think of Bit.Trip Runner?
I'm sure you guys are expecting this to be my favorite game or something along those lines, or knowing me and my tastes and all those things. While on the one hand, it is an absolutely brilliant game in many ways that I may detail.
One hopes.
I may not.
On the other hand, it is the most torturous experience I've ever had.
But
playing
you
a
love
video
torturous
game.
experiences.
No, sir. This was.
It's hard.
It is the hardest game I've ever played,
And
hands down. Period.
Easy
full
things
stop.
are hard. Easy things in this,
Easy
like
things
going
are hard.
upstairs.
Going upstairs is really hard.
F you and
The
your
fact
stairs, man.
that beating the first level of the game was the most crowning achievement of my life. That I felt no need to play any further level than level 1 is a testament to how difficult this game is. What is
Not
brilliant?
for the faint of heart.
What is brilliant is there's a feeling that you get when you play a game, particularly for a while. Like, take Super Mario Brothers. We played that first level over and over and over again because you have to play Mario. You know, there's no save games, right? So we played growing up with Nintendo over and over and over. And then there's a point where you can hold B, which is run fast, and you run through Mario, and you've like massaged it. You know everywhere, everything's coming, and that the feeling you get is like the feeling of listening to your favorite song, where it warms your soul inside.
I would say Mega Man even more than Mario, because Mega Man is like
I
that,
wasn't
like
that way with Mega Man, but
brutal, crushing difficulty level.
oh, okay, sure, yeah.
Where Mario is sort of a breeze compared to.
But I just mean that when you get that mastery.
Yeah.
And this game really sinks into that vibe, that tone, that experience, that feeling, where because the music, it's almost like a rhythm game. It could almost be Parappa the Rappa, but instead of the button cues being arrows pointing this way and that way, and you have to, it's within a platform experience.
Right.
And
because
feeling.
I think you were about to say the music is tied into, and because you're running at a constant speed that the game is controlling.
It's a certain BPM or whatever.
Right, and you have to jump in order to continue at certain
moments.
intervals.
Yeah, it can time that.
Yes, that the sound of your jumping plays into the sort of drum and bass soundtrack, the trancy
which
soundtrack.
I actually found distracting because it's not timed to your jump. It's timed to where approximately you have to jump in order to get the coin. So what ends up happening is I'll jump and like either hear the jump right after I jump or hear the jump sound right before I jump, and it's very distracting. It was very, the controls were very squishy. I didn't quite get what was happening.
Yeah, controls were not as precise as I'd want for a game like this, but the feeling of where you're making music and you just feel like you're on fire is amazing. The difficulty, I wouldn't mind if there's checkpoints. Okay, if you're not going to give me checkpoints, at least pace it so that it's not
The hard thing at the end?
Yeah, it's not impossible thing at the end, and then you got to start all the way from the beginning. And after I beat a hard thing, now slow it down a little bit, and then ease me back in, and then give me some sense of pacing, some sense so I can feel accomplishment, because it's just easy, harder, and then it's impossible. So once I figured out one impossible thing, I have to replay. And here's what it really is. It really wouldn't matter.
Forget what I just said.
If there wasn't a million easy things to do in the beginning that just become a chore to get back to where you're having problems figuring things out.
Oh my God, I have to get ready for the hard thing coming up. It's like,
Exactly.
okay, here it comes. It's getting
And then
closer.
when you screw up on the easy thing because you're thinking about the hard thing,
Yeah.
you're like, I hate
That's not fun. Like, I wish they honed in more on the fun.
I definitely agree with Dan. This is one of the most amazing games that I never want to play ever again. Right? It is a gorgeous and amazing experience, and there's joy in it, and the bonus levels, joy. Everything is joy.
Yeah, the early ones at least kind of look like Pitfall.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's joy. Never gonna play this game again. I wouldn't even recommend people play this game. I mean, it's that frustrating. And the good news is there's no death penalty, so it's like it doesn't. You can do it
you're going to die
1,000
times.
But the fact that moving up stairs, I mean, just stairs, is almost impossible in this game, and that's just the beginning. It's like level 2.
There's 50 levels.
They add stairs, and the stairs are the most impossible things ever in history of time. and this whole thing of it's within rhythm of the music, but you're not really, because I was like, well, maybe I'm just supposed to you can almost close your eyes and get where you're supposed to jump in the music. That doesn't work. You need to play it like a platformer.
Have your eyes open.
And basically,
Just in.
the music's just gonna distract you. You know what I mean? But it's an amazing game. It's a great concept. I wish that they had used a little bit more pacing and maybe made the impossible things semi-hard instead of impossible. I mean, there's literally levels you play 75 times in a row. And then, I mean, there were literally levels where I was like, one more time. I hate this game. One more time. Oh, this is beautiful music. Putting it down, walking away, coming back.
Did you guys play the end? Did you get to the end boss? Did you play the end boss?
Of the first level?
Of the first level?
Yeah, stupid town.
Yeah.
But anyway, so amazing game. I'm never playing that again.
Okay, well, let's move on.
What did you think?
Well, I
Sans?
kind of agree with you guys. I mean, I actually thought I would be the odd man out because I tend to get frustrated with repetition as a game mechanic. And this game is that. The first couple of times you die and you see your guy just go whoop, and you're like, oh, it just went back a little bit.
A little, yeah.
Nope, you're at the beginning of, you have to do the whole thing over. Yeah. So there's something worthwhile about it. And if you kind of get in a zen place of not caring, it's just hard for me not to care. It's hard for me not to get invested.
And I played till 4 in the morning one night. I mean, it is compelling. Because you're so just like, well, I just gotta. I've come
man
this
up.
far.
I gotta man up.
I figured this much out. I gotta see it through. And
well, this game, as I said, relates to a lot of very popular iPhone games right now. And since by the time you see this, all of us will have new iPhones that we're very excited about. And I don't know if you guys have all installed OS 4. No,
I have not. I'm saving it.
No, I have.
I mean, tomorrow I'm going to have it.
Yes,
on my
this
new
is true.
phone.
So
Installed for me.
I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about iPhone games or iPad games, if that's what you like to talk about. So I don't know what you guys are going to talk about. I assume, Dan, that you're going to mention a couple of these type of games.
Well, I definitely mentioned Robot Unicorn Attack as.
If you like Erasure, you'll love Robot Unicorn Attack.
This is a
which I
game
happen to
that
love.
I played over and over again in Flash, and it just made perfect sense for it to be an iPhone. And I was waiting for it to be an iPhone. Finally, it comes out on the iPhone. It is just a Flash game. Kind of wish they did something else with it. The one bummer I never liked about it is that you just get 3 lives and you just go as far as you get, and that's it. And I wish there were levels or something. Okay, but the joy of Robot Unicorn Attack is you are a robot unicorn.
Already joy. There's already joy right there.
You're playing and you shoot rainbows or you're flying on clouds. There is an Erasure song. What is the name of the Erasure song?
Isn't it?
It's a remix actually of the Erasure song.
Isn't it the? It'll come to me.
I don't know the name.
Erasure
But
song.
anyway, it is the most joyful piece of music ever orchestrated. And You are listening to this incredible music as this unicorn, but the sensation of the leaps and it's just what's better than that than Cannonball or Cannonbait or whatever is that you get a jump, and then you can jump again, and you can also you do a dash attack, so you can sort of always sort of figure a way. If things come at you, this is what Bit.Trip, there's no memorization. It's random, right? And Cannonball, it's like it goes so fast that there's moments where there's no way you could have figured that out.
Yeah.
This Robot Unicorn Attack gives you enough tools where if random things happen, you can kind of get yourself out of it because you have a combination of things, not just jump. But it just the listening to this music and playing this game, the sensation of the leaps feels so good. So I love Robot Unicorn Attack. I highly recommend it if you've just gotten the iPhone 4. The other one.
Well, I'll ping back to you. We'll hit Alex with one, and then we'll ping back to you.
So with me, it's really funny. The game that I've played the most on the iPad is an older Flash game, Plants vs. Zombies.
Which, great game.
If you haven't played, because here's the thing, a lot of people haven't played Plants vs. Zombies because it was a paid Flash game. So there was a barrier to entry.
Now it's a paid app.
Right, but there's a little bit more of a barrier to entry. Like when people were like, yeah, you go to this website, it's a Flash game in your browser, but you pay for it. I was like, nuts to that.
And supposedly they're updating it for the new Retina display for the iPhone.
That could be great, because this is one of those games that I never really got into the tower defense. We talked about this a little bit. I've never really got into the tower defense games, and I've said many times that I'm not a big fan of the RTSs or RT-based ones, the other ones.
Turn-based.
The turn-based versions of the RTSs. TTS. Anyway, but this game, because of the fact that it's the content, the comedy, the way that they lead you into, it's basically a tower defense game, but instead of it being a path that you have to be careful for, it's different like lines that you have to be careful for. By the end, you're just doing stuff that is like full-on tower defense mode. I mean, it's like this giant boss at the end. I played all the way through this game on the iPad, but the real testament, in my opinion, was I had Heather start playing it. Not a video game person. She has now purchased it on the iPhone and beat it on the iPhone. So this is one of those games where even if you're not into gaming, but you get an iPad, it's worth buying this game.
Yeah. The one I'm going to talk about real quick is Catan. It just came out on the iPhone, and we are huge.
For the iPhone.
Yeah, we are huge board game players. Settlers of Catan is one of my favorite board games in the world. It's a really, I think, excellent transition to the iPhone. Is it a superior experience to playing the actual board game with people? No, but it feeds that fix if you want it, and I think it's only $4, $5. Anyway, so what's your second game?
The other game I was going to mention, I mean, on the iPad, there's the fighting game, the Bruce Lee fighting game is a special experience. It's a really good fighting game. But I feel like you're getting your iPhone, what's another iPhone game? There's an old iPhone game that I discovered on the iPad that I couldn't recommend more. It's called Enigmo. It is a puzzle game. I love puzzle games on the iPhone because it's not Twitch-based, and my fingers aren't in the way, and I don't, and I get to sort of sit there and think about what I'm going to do, and then do it. I'm not tilting things that I need to do quickly or whatever. It's like I really love the puzzle game on the iPhone. And Enigma is a game that I would not play the 360. I would not watch TV. I would pick up my iPad, but on your iPhone, and play this game, and choose to play this game. And you have blue water. Eventually, you get orange water and green water.
You get Tron water?
You get the blue is very Tronish, and they have to get into a jar, and so it's dripping from one place, and they got it in another place, and you have like a little bouncy thing, a little thingy thing, and you're directing the stuff and figuring out where do I place it, what position. Love Enigma.
Yeah.
Got another one?
Yeah, I do, and it's also been around for a little while, maybe a couple months now. And probably not the first person to tell you that you should play this game, but Angry Birds. Angry Birds is an
just
iPhone,
got updated
iPad
with,
classic.
I think 15 new levels.
Not only that, but each level, I know people who literally have played through the entire game and then go back and try to get 3 stars on every level. And there's even like websites dedicated to teaching you how to get 3 stars on every level of Angry Birds. I bought this first on the iPad. It's amazing on the iPad.
HD version.
But I subsequently repurchased it on the iPhone because of the fact that it really works on the small screen portable.
But it's the
iPhone
exact
mini.
same game.
It's the same game.
So you shouldn't have to buy it twice.
I agree, but I did.
The game I'm going to tell you about, you don't have to buy at all. Right now, it's completely free, and it's Tilt to Live. It's a very high-quality game. You mentioned not wanting to have your fingers in the way. You also mentioned not wanting to tilt.
Yeah,
but I'm only going to listen to the first part.
Yeah.
I also agree. I really don't like on the iPad or the iPhone the virtual joysticks.
Thumbsticks, yeah.
But Tilt to Live is kind of a Geometry Wars-esque shooter, kind of. But it's all tilting, and I really enjoy it, and it's free, so you can't go wrong. So if you get a new iPhone, those are some picks from us, and I'd love to hear what you guys are enjoying on the iPhone. Until next time.
All right, we're doing Twitter questions.
been a
Once
while,
again,
right?
You guys have sent us your questions via Twitter, and we are going to race through them as best we possibly can. So
Yeah,
first,
at Totally Rad Show.
at Totally Rad Show, Louis on Fire asks, what are some interests of yours now that 10 years ago you wouldn't have guessed you would be into?
Interesting. I would definitely say flying. I had always hoped that I would get through the process of learning how to fly. But honestly, 10 years ago, if you had said, like, in 10 years, you're going to be almost getting your pilot's license, I'd be like, I mean, it's always been a dream, but I never thought that I would actually follow through with it. So that's pretty cool.
What about you, Dan? I'm blanking. 10 years ago?
Running is, you do the marathons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Marathons,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Inconceivable to me that I would be doing
yeah.
that. Inconceivable.
Well, the funny thing
Were you
is,
in The Princess Bride also?
Inconceivable!
the funny thing people may not know is that in the pilot episode of the Totally Rad Show, and it actually might have
the
been
unaired pilot.
It might have even been a pre-pilot.
Yeah.
Was the whole you telling us for the first time that you were going to attempt?
Yeah, and
run a
I remember
marathon.
there was some laughter and mockery.
Oh, I thought you were gonna die. I mean, literally. I think it's in the episode.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah, I didn't think, similarly, I didn't think I would enjoy being a dog owner as much.
Hey, you've really come to like that a lot.
Yeah, I have. You know, I find myself watching historical things. I'm much more into history now, which I think is everyone's
The function of age.
sign of maturity.
Yeah.
Is you now are accepting where you are in life, and you're now looking back in the past and seeing the similarities and whatever.
Have you ever looked into the history of dog owning?
Tiz Greg asks, I'm at Disney World and I just saw the Toronto rail. What are your favorite
Awesome!
What are your favorite
yeah.
movie advertising moments? I think recently that District 9 stuff was pretty cool, but
My favorite one of all,
historically.
maybe of all time, I say of all time, and it's the first one that pops into my head, but it's a huge one that's up there, is when the Simpsons movie came out and they converted those 7-Elevens
Into Quickie
into
Marts?
Quickie Marts.
Yeah.
That was awesome, and they had the pink sprinkled donuts, and they had Duff beer that they were selling.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think for me, it's not a movie, it's the TV show stuff, and I don't know if they actually ended up selling this stuff or it was just sort of people making it, but the Dharma beer and like the Dharma crackers for people who were like throwing Lost parties and they'd have like all the Dharma food.
Yeah.
That was always really cool because it really, before the end happened and we got away from Dharma being the cool part of Lost, it was really cool to have that like,
Yeah.
we're on the inside of the science.
I will never forget the Super Bowl that I'm sure as you guys, the Independence Day, the ID4 where they blew up the White House. That
Yeah.
was a moment. And there's some famous stories of Alfred Hitchcock advertising movies that people didn't know was the advertise whatever that.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't- I
ARGs,
can't
I think we're all big fans of the concept of ARG, and we talked
That's
about
true,
the Batman.
The Dark Knight, where they get
Yeah.
the phone, where they would the press was sent a cake, and then a phone, something the cake is ringing, it's a phone inside. Pretty brilliant.
That's epic.
Stephen Bennett asks, what, in your opinion, was the most significant, geekiest tech innovation of the last 10 years?
I think it's the smartphone.
I'm actually going to go out on a limb and say HDTV.
Wow.
What was 10
me.
years ago? What were we? How were we
2000.
functioning in 10 years? 10 years ago.
Well, we had little rabbit arms. How are we functioning?
we had cell
10 years
phones.
ago?
10 years ago, we had cell phones.
Yes. Oh yeah.
We
oh,
didn't
yeah.
have smartphones. We didn't
Right,
have.
but I'm just wondering, we didn't have HDTV.
We did not
had
have
cell phones. We had email. We
didn't have DVDs.
yeah,
Oh,
we
we
did.
definitely had DVDs.
We did. Yes, we did.
Yeah, for sure.
Smartphone is big because that changed my life. That changed my being able to be connected all the time. on a little device that I carry in my pocket. I have all the world's knowledge with me everywhere I go.
That's true, and email.
Laptops? Were laptops around?
Oh, yeah.
They've been
years
around
ago?
since a long time ago.
In fact, I
Hard.
just watched Bad Boys again.
Right.
Yeah.
And it came out in
The brick-
1995, and there's a bomb inside a laptop, and it's when they pull
laptop.
out the laptop, it's like, are they joking? Is it a joke?
Yeah.
Is this a joke?
Yeah.
Oh, what about like a GPS? The proliferance of GPS. That's a pretty big deal too.
That's
'Cause
true.
I'm sure they had the technology for GPS 10 years ago, but you didn't have, like, when I first moved to LA,
Yeah, cars
I had a
and stuff.
Thomas guide.
Well, we all had Thomas guides.
That's
yeah.
true. Well, that's sort of.
and now
That
I'm
is
never
part of the
lost. It's
phone.
impossible to get lost.
They all
Yeah.
had Thomas guides for sure. All right.
Still stick
so
with
Wolf,
HGTV.
S. Wolf asks, why don't you guys ever score movies, games out of 10?
This
Oh,
is
I
this
skipped
is
one, yeah.
this is very interesting because we did this by choice, and I was led a lot by Jeff.
Well, a lot of people asked us this in our first year, and we answered it a lot, but we haven't talked about it in a long time.
Yeah.
But
It was a conscious choice for us
Yes.
to do that.
well,
Well,
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, even in, when I was doing Geek-Trome, I think the concept for doing a show like this is we're having a conversation about movies. We're not reviewing them, even though now we've come to grips with, the term that we are reviewing a movie. But yeah, we just genuinely want this to feel like a conversation that we are having with each other, that the audience is having, that it feels like when you walk out of a movie, this is the talk you have after you just saw the flick.
Yeah,
So
it's not about
grading
distilling that
something.
down into a numerical form.
And then you get to that thing of like, well, did I really think that, How to Train Your Dragon was better than Avatar or vice versa? But my numbering sequence has forced me to make that decision arbitrarily.
And honestly, I think we would probably,
Or
at
not
least in the
arbitrarily.
video game space, we would probably get more street cred hits and street cred if we were on Metacritic.
Yeah.
If we had a number and it could
Sure.
put it there. But we're just not interested in kind of playing that game. So.
Well, it also has to do with the fact that we review the game that we want to review, or the movie, or the 2 movies that we want to review that week, or whatever. We don't review everything,
Right.
and that's part of that.
and we
It's about
all
what we
review the
want.
same thing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
That's true. Mike Gonzalez asks. Mike Gonzalez asks, let's say you had to eat the same thing for lunch and dinner every day for the next year. What's your dish?
Filet mignon.
Is this like
Steak.
in a fantasy world, or do we have to take health considerations?
Fantasy world.
It would be
Maybe Big Macs.
fondue, melting pot fondue, but
You
like,
could eat that. You would not get sick of that? I think that's too
well,
rich.
there's anything you get sick of anything. That's the whole.
No, but I
That's
mean,
why
I think
steak
the
and-
richness
steak and-
specifically.
Yeah, filet mignon and.
I think for me it would be
and,
sushi. I could eat sushi every day
Yeah,
because
but
there's
I
enough
get-
different kinds of sushi.
Yeah, but with sushi specifically, there's a time where I've eaten too much of it.
And you go
I
to the
never
edge.
want to see. I'm like, I don't want to see. And then like I won't have it for a while, and then all I'm doing is I just want sushi every day. You know what I'm saying? You get that point where like
Yeah.
you have one piece too many there,
Yeah.
or a bad piece of sushi, and you're like, I. Hate
Well, that's
sushi
the
now.
worst. If you had
Yeah.
to eat it all day and then you had one that was like a little old, and you're like, old sushi is bad.
Well, but I'm assuming it would be
So
very high
the
quality.
answer is you're wrong. That's the
Yeah,
answer.
guys.
Yeah.
Stick with your cheese pot.
Jeff, I give that a 6.
All right, Quinn.
You're right, Dan. Cheese would never get old.
That's a 2.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Quinn George asks, what theme song plays when you enter the room? Clearly, you're the best around for me. Go ahead, guys.
Go ahead.
Amazing.
Well, I think this question would have been answered differently 3 years ago than it is now, where now I have fallen in love with Morricone.
Ennio Morricone?
Yes.
Okay.
And I love those, The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, or Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More theme songs. Like, there's nothing more badass than that. Nothing. And they do feel like things that you could walk in a room and it would be like,
Well, in the 1800s.
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
Now, you come off like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
hey, you know what? I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Danny Elfman's theme to Batman, the original. Or not the original, but the
Yeah.
remake.
Tim Burton.
The Tim Burton remake.
All right. You little mystery? A little mystery? Really? I feel like you'd walk into the room with the theme song to Seinfeld going on.
Boom, 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 boom.
I'm gonna slide
crazy
through a door.
Alex.
When was the last time I slid through a door?
All right.
All right, I have Kramer here.
Britt Fawn asks, my husband and I will be heading out to LA in September. What rad restaurants do you recommend?
I think I would say Umami Burger is the one we can all get behind.
We could all get behind that one. There's a great sandwich place called Bread, which I just discovered on La Brea and
Fortunately,
Melrose.
there's nothing in the sandwiches.
I know.
It's just bread.
I will tell you the 2 best restaurants, even though downtown isn't really
Oh, dude, the
for
fish
real
taco
LA,
place?
but I think the three of us can all
Bro.
recommend Philippe's, which
Yes.
is
French
apparently
dips.
the original French dip place. They say. I mean,
So
everyone probably
good.
says
Amazing.
that.
It was
but
on Man vs. Food when
on
you
Man
came to
vs.
LA.
Wait, we should
so-
say.
Philippe's is there's a staple. Yeah.
But wait, you should say, if you go to
Double dip.
Philippe's, yeah, well, the sandwiches, obviously,
Yeah.
but you gotta get the potato salad.
Potato salad's
And I
amazing.
highly recommend the pie as well.
And the Dijon, the mustard
Everybody
is
gets
special
pies.
mustard. Get it double dipped. Philippe's amazing, and also Senior Fish,
Yeah.
which is, I think, the best
Amazing.
taco in LA.
Yeah, we just, Dan
The
just
shrimp
introduced that
taco
to
and the
us.
shrimp taco.
Yeah,
Mind-blowing.
Dan just introduced that to us at E3 this year.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And we
Same thing
all
with Philippe's, the previous years.
This is true.
I
that
don't
was
know.
many years ago.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a couple years ago, but still.
Yes. Anyway, so there you go.
All right.
Senior Fish and Philippe's and bread and umami burger.
Yeah, I'm
Also, Mr. Cecil's for ribs.
Oh yeah,
Just
Cecil's.
for- Cecil.
That's
Just
where
for
we,
nostalgia
that's where
purposes.
everything
That's
was-
where a Totally Rad
Yeah,
show.
came
and
together.
the best ribs in the world.
All right.
That's Twitter, babies. All right, everybody, before we say goodbye, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Squarespace.com. If you guys have not heard us talk about Squarespace.com, get out from under that internet rock that you live under and check out Squarespace.com. It is the best place to start a new website, start a new blog or portfolio for your work or whatever it is. Or if you have a website, they have a new importer tool, which is unbelievable. Basically, one click and all the stuff on your website gets imported into your brand new Squarespace site. And the thing that's great about Squarespace is you don't have to know coding in order to do some of the stuff that you see on these super high-end websites.
And they all don't look the same.
No, not at all.
It's really interesting. I mean, you say what you see is what you get in plug and play and all that stuff and ease of use.
Yeah.
And you think this,
This
you know,
generic
kind of like template,
Yeah.
boring. It's not that at all.
No, not at all. This
Yeah.
is super, super exciting stuff. And if you go over to squarespace.com and sign up for an account, if you turn that account into a premium paid account, because you get a 14-day free trial, I think it's 14-day free trial or 10-day free trial, something like that, to check it out and just play around, see if it fits your requirements. But when it does, because it will, because it does.
Because it do.
And you upgrade your account, make sure to use the code TRS when you check out for that upgrade, and you'll save 10% off the entire lifetime of your site. Amazing stuff. Check it out, squarespace.com.
Do you like video games?
No.
Sure, we all
Yes.
do. Playing video games can be a very expensive process, but if you have a subscription to GameFly, who has over 7,000 titles at your disposal at any given time, all you're doing is paying $15.95 a month, and they send you the next game on your queue. You will play it for as long as you want. There's no due dates. There's no late fees. Then you send it back. They send you the next one. So you literally have a subscription to 7,000 video games at a time. Pretty incredible stuff. And you can get a 2-week free trial and check it out for yourself by going to gamefly.com/TTRS. It's very important that you use that URL when you sign up, because then they know you'll watch our show.
Yay!
You can also subscribe to movies and television shows from Netflix.com, where you can rent and you can get these things, no late fees, no due dates, DVDs, Blu-rays sent to you in the mail, or you can stream them instantly on your PC, your PS3, your Xbox 360, your Wii, your iPad, your anything. You're anything with an internet connection, pretty much, basically.
Yep.
I'm sure. And even the iPhone 4, right? They're coming out with a Netflix app soon. So
I believe it's already out.
Oh, it's already
Yeah,
out. Boom! It goes dynamite. So,
Boom goes
and of
dynamite.
course, we recommend you a title. I think we all now can firmly recommend, all three of us, The Lost Room.
I was sort of the holdout, and I had the DVD for a long time, and I was like, I remember seeing the previews for it back in the day on Sci-Fi Channel and thinking,
I wish somebody could go back through our archives and tell me the first time that we mentioned it.
yeah.
Because I think it was like year one. I think it was one of the very first.
whatever it was,
think,
I
yes.
just want to say, I'll go on record and saying, it is one of the best sci-fi series ever made. It's just amazing.
It delivers.
There's more stuff in the first scene. There's more amazing sci-fi moments in the first scene than there are in a lot of very well done sci-fi movies and TV shows. So I thank you, sir.
Well,
me.
because
And you as well, but
because
he was the pusher.
because the
gave me the DVD.
because the Twitterverse has been erupting as we've been tweeting about The Lost Room. The dude. It's made
team.
by Christopher and Laura, but Christopher is on Twitter, and he Twittered us And
Look at you.
Yeah.
I hadn't even watched it by
and,
then.
And so we got
I mean, that's pretty awesome that they we made a big enough, I don't know,
deal
impression on people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
that,
So
that was
very
super
cool, very
super
cool.
And that's Netflix.
And that, my friends, is Netflix. So go to netflix.com/TRS to get a free trial.
That's right. And last week.
That's Netflix.
That's Netflix.
You can rent Lost Room on Netflix.
Last Friday, I was wondering where that was.
Yeah.
Last Friday, up in San Francisco, we all went to the mezzanine and went to the big 5-year anniversary party for Revision 3.
do you guys remember what happened? It was crazy.
It was crazy time.
Yeah.
We're shooting
The thing
this
that
before we
happened.
went.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, we did a live
those
episode
guys?
of Dignation. So if you want, check out
those
this
guys were
week's
nuts.
this
Oh
week's
my
episode
God.
of Dignation, which comes out, I believe, tomorrow. If you're watching this on Tuesday or Monday, it comes
I
out.
can't believe what you
Wednesday.
said in that episode.
It was amazing. I can't even believe I said that stuff. I should actually like plant something in now and then actually just say it on the show.
Like Ballbuster.
Ballbuster.
Except that
And so
you
it was funny
can't-
when I
you
said
have no
Ballbuster.
memory for those things.
None whatsoever, especially when I'm drinking. Check out the episode. It was crazy. I believe. I don't really remember it because it hasn't happened yet. All right. Well,
That's the Lost Room.
before we... Yeah, I pulled out a key. I didn't know where I was. Anyway, the other thing we wanted to say before we get going is Comic-Con, people. It is happening. It is
We'll be
real.
there again.
Friday, July 24th.
Don't just say things.
It's the Friday of Comic-Con. Comic-Con's like July 27th, July 26th, 7th, 8th.
No,
Oh,
it's July
let's
24th.
just not say numbers if we
It's
don't know
July
the right
24th.
numbers.
It's July 24th.
Friday. It's that
Suck it.
Friday.
Friday, July 24th. He's looking up on his calendar. Mike is. No, he's not. Friday, July 24th, 23rd. I'm so close.
it.
So close. Come on.
I want
27.
Mike to do some funny thing every time you say 24th when it's wrong.
Yeah. But anyway, it's 7:30, I think, or 7:30 to 9:45. 7:45.
Numbers are not our
I
friends.
know. It is
5A
room 5AB.
Yeah, room 5AB.
Yeah, as long as we show up
Which is
someplace.
a different
Yeah.
room than previous years.
Though I think it
So-
might be like right across the hall or something along.
You're gonna want to
something
probably
like
get there early. We'd love to see you come out. We know
We-
that Comic-Con is sold out, so you can't get new tickets.
And
but
we always fill up that panel, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't come and hang out, because what happens is sometimes people are like, well, I'm just not even going to show up and try it. And then it
does
fills.
that?
It still fills up, but you can get in there, so don't feel like it's.
yeah, we do our best to get everybody in.
Yeah, standing
and
room in the back and all sorts of stuff. And
It's gonna be fun.
Our parents are going to be there, which will be interesting. So if you want to also show your support and throw some flags, I don't know what that meant, but go over to jinx.com/TRS, get your Totally Rad Show swag. The Jinx guys are based in San Diego, so all the Jinx guys are going to be there. So if the Jinx guys see you with the shirts on, they'll come up and say hi and thank you for your support. So it's a good
As will we.
conversation starter and a way to meet everybody. Hey! Okay.
If you're someone who doesn't like to come up and say, hey, we watched your show and you're wearing this shirt,
We will come up to you.
yeah, I will be, and then you'll go
And then
away.
you'll be like, why did he just sing like an old, like, whatever that is?
Why did he use the old praying mantis mating call on me?
He's like, why are my loins thrusting? Anyway, well, that is it for this
Well,
week's
let's also.
edition.
Okay, no, go ahead.
What?
We can wrap it up. I was going to mention that if you want to send in a background.
yeah.
Yes.
Fans at TotallyRadShow.com is
And-
where you send in a background like Mark did. Or if you want to send us intro lyrics like Dave?
Dave LaSalle, yeah.
LaSalle. He sent those in. We didn't write them. They're completely user submitted, as is our background. We love that user submitted stuff. So fans at TotallyRadShow.com is where you send that stuff.
Cool. Well, that is it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad Show. I'm Alex Albrecht.
Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Until next time, see ya, bees. Ready?
Yeah.
This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace.
Go to. Sorry.
Go to. End of line. Go to 10. This week's episode of brought to you by Squarespace. Here we go. Ready?
I love it when we do our ads in basic.
Yeah. This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace.
Netflix. Go to www.netflix.com/TRS and get a free trial membership. Oh, God. I didn't see that
Free trial.
Membership.
This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace. I almost did it. This week's episode of the This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace.
That's a joke.
Wait.
It's a joke.
Wait.
Netflix. Go to netflix.com. Netflix. Go to netflix.com/TRS for a free trial membership. Okay.
Brought to you by Squarespace.
Netflix. Go to netflix.com.
Sounds like a question. Netflix?
Well, that's what happened.
Go to netflix.com.
Netflix!
Because that's what that's the tone of the second person.
This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace.
Netflix. Go to netflix.com. No, we have it. This is stupid. We have it.
Okay. July 24th.